Well, thank you. So after a sumptuous lunch, we are sitting in this room with dim lights and presentations. I can see the mood getting more and more somber. But before I begin, I think a round of applause for Sanjay, Ridhima, and their respective teams would be in order for such a wonderful experience we are all getting here. So thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Ridhima. My presentation actually got triggered. The idea for it got triggered when I met up with Sanjay a couple of weeks back when we were in Delhi. And we were discussing basically what sometimes cocktail conversations these days tend to be about. And that's about the state of the profession of architecture and how things are going. So I thought rather than share some office projects, this is the opportune audience with whom to engage on the subject of really architecture and the inside story. So I'm going to here very quickly just share a few thoughts and make it more of a dialogue which can follow obviously after these presentations about where are we headed as far as the profession goes. So one of the things that, when we were in college, we used to hear all the time about is how the profession of architecture is the mother of all arts, and it's a very all-encompassing profession, which really puts the architect as the team leader, in a way the captain who takes the entire team along to end up doing something like this as we see in this room here. However, I think things are changing and changing very rapidly. So I wonder whether it really remains still the mother of all arts, because what today is happening to the profession is that architects are more and more being driven by various dictates. And they could be from, of course, they've been in the past by clients, but now they are project management companies, there are even large construction firms, there are various advisors and committees and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So with that, I think somewhere the significance of the architect donning the cap of a captain is getting diminished. So just a thought that I think we should be probably discussing. The other aspect is that, yes, we always talk about the state of the profession, where we are headed, just the way I'm having this conversation with you now. But I think to a large extent, it is really something where we cannot wait for others to set our houses in order, but it's for us ourselves to set our house in order. And by that I mean that it's really for the fraternity to come together and to start looking at, creating in a way peer pressure sometimes perhaps, or having some kind of a self-regulatory mechanism in place where things, if they are by certain individuals going awry, we should be able to contain them. Because these kind of things where we are facing issues about the professional fees beginning to plummet and there's no bottom to it, or issues about, one architect doing a project and the next day you don't know it's another architect who's taken the job, and there's a no thank you everywhere around you. So these kind of things, these are not possible at an individual level for us to take up. But I think it's something for the fraternity as a whole to come together and look at. The third thing that, so this is about really that, yes, we need to take care of our own problems ourselves. The other aspect is about, which also intrigues me a lot, is that why are designs meant to be for free? I think this is one of those very few professions where every new project, an architect has to prove his worth all over again as if he's a novice. It doesn't happen with doctors, it doesn't happen with lawyers, it doesn't happen with any other professional the way it happens in our profession. So I think this is something also which needs really a discussion, a deliberation, and unless we do that, how do we expect the change to happen? Also on this aspect, what is a concern is that I find it very surprising that some of the other senior members in our profession have started going about government offices and started declaring that they are willing to do projects for free, whether it's public infrastructure, whether it's railway stations, or whether it could be airports or whatever the rest of it. I just wonder here that is that the way the profession is seeing its future? Is there no other way that we can demonstrate our creativity? Why do we need to go to the government and tell them that we are here to do some kind of a national service by doing projects for free? I don't think that's the way it works in any other country, anywhere else. So again, this is something going back to the point that we as a fraternity need to look at these issues, because that's not the way we are supposed to be dealing with our profession. And what's going to happen as a result of it? These leaders of the profession in their efforts at national service are not realizing that they are robbing the youth, the small architectural firms, and they are going to soon be out of practice. Because if one government department starts getting designs for free, entire projects for free, all other government departments are going to show that as an example and ask the architects to follow that. Because one IAS officer, and that's an infectious breed out there, one IAS officer gets an example, it goes all over viral, and all the other IAS officers heading these public sector companies are going to be expecting that. Thank you. And I am also encouraged to bring up these issues. Of course, I didn't realize, and it's a pleasant surprise when I heard the kind of things, Brinda, you are in charge of, or you're looking at the state of the profession, because it's only people like you and who have, first of all, created such a strong mark in the profession, have set such great examples for all of us. And you people need to now, and we are there with you, to look at how these things can be addressed. Another interesting aspect which I think needs attention, and maybe this is self-destructive when I speak about it, but I don't care. And that is about how we say that you are not welcome to the big boys club. So young architects, young architecture firms are robbed of not being able to participate in large projects because the selection criteria happens to be that you have to have a certain financial turnover, you should have done those kind of projects before, you have to have that kind of experience, and that really is detrimental to new talent, creative talent coming up. So sure, firms like ours, which might have grown to a certain scale, can get those projects, but I don't think that's going to be helpful to the glory of the profession if we have these kind of selection criteria. And last but not the least, I think is an issue where the Council of Architecture, to which a lot of us belong, is really should, I think, have been playing more of a role like you see in international councils in other countries. They should, rather than promoting our profession, they seem to be only policing our profession. So that also doesn't help very much. Again, Sanjay, I think it takes me back to our conversations we've had a few times in the past, that the council is only there to tell us what not to do. But why are they not representing us in the government, in other public sectors, to tell them that, you know, the lowest fee and these kind of strange methods of selecting creative professionals is not the way to go. So that's about it to share with you. Thank you, and I hope this encourages for a dialogue.